Have you ever wondered why erections feel weaker after 50, even when your desire is still there, and why no one talks about a simple natural fix? Most men are told it's just aging, or worse, pushed straight toward pills that ignore the real root problem: circulation, inflammation, and hormonal signaling. Today, I'll show you why one overlooked spot on your body, when paired with castor oil, may support stronger erections naturally. I'm Dr. Michael Hayes, a physician specializing in men over 50 and healthy aging. Tell me where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Most men over 50 are led to believe that if their erections aren't as strong, it must be because their testosterone is dropping. And yes, testosterone does decline with age, but here's the surprising truth. It's not the only factor, and often it's not the main one. What's really behind the changes you're feeling is something far more overlooked: the gradual breakdown in blood flow, nerve signaling, and inflammation in the pelvic region. Think about it. Your body's circulation is like plumbing. As you age, your blood vessels become less elastic. The inner lining, called the endothelium, starts to stiffen, and nitric oxide, the molecule that allows blood to rush into the penis, isn't released as efficiently. That alone makes it harder to achieve and maintain firmness. But that's not all. The nerves that communicate arousal signals from your brain to your body also start to lose sensitivity. Add chronic inflammation to the mix, from years of stress, processed foods, poor sleep, or even past injuries, and you've got a recipe for reduced performance. None of this happens overnight. It's slow, subtle, and frustrating. You may still feel desire, but your body doesn't respond like it used to. And that gap between what you want and what actually happens can be deeply emotional. I've seen it in hundreds of men who come in saying, "I'm fine otherwise, I just don't feel like myself anymore." And I always tell them, you're not broken, you're just missing the signal. Here's the shift I want you to start making today. Stop thinking of erections as purely hormonal. They are vascular events. If you support your blood flow and reduce inflammation, even slightly, you may be shocked at how your body starts to respond again. And this shift isn't just important, it's foundational. Everything else we'll talk about in this video depends on it. You don't need drastic interventions to begin seeing change. You just need to know where to focus your energy. And that's where something as simple and natural as castor oil comes in, but only if you know how and where to use it. Because next, I'm going to show you why this ancient oil is making a comeback, especially for men over 50 looking to reclaim their strength and confidence. Castor oil might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think about men's sexual health, but maybe it should be. This natural oil has been used for centuries, quietly passed down in home remedies for pain, circulation, and inflammation. Yet today, most men over 50 have never even considered it. Why? Because it sounds too simple to be effective. But castor oil isn't just folk medicine. It has real biological power. It penetrates deep into the skin, stimulates lymphatic flow, and supports microcirculation, especially in areas with dense vascular and nerve tissue. When you apply castor oil topically, it doesn't just sit on the surface. Its unique fatty acid, ricinoleic acid, helps reduce inflammation and encourage localized blood flow, two of the biggest culprits in weaker erections as you age. Think about what we covered in the last chapter. Poor circulation and inflammation are at the root of many issues. Castor oil addresses both in a gentle, natural way, without side effects or chemical disruption. I often explain it this way to patients. Castor oil is like a warm invitation to your blood vessels. It softens the tissue, encourages movement, and supports healing from the outside in. But here's where it gets interesting. When men over 50 start applying castor oil in the right place, especially in areas connected to pelvic circulation, they're often surprised by what follows: less tightness, more warmth, and in some cases, a gradual return of firmness that had been missing. And it's not because castor oil is a miracle cure, it's because the body finally gets the support it's been craving. You're helping restore a function that's been slowly fading, not through force, but through nourishment. The beauty of this is how accessible it is. You don't need a prescription. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars. You just need a bottle of cold-pressed castor oil and a few minutes of consistency. The men I've worked with who see the best results are the ones who stick with it, applying it gently, regularly, with patience. You won't feel a sudden jolt, but over time, things begin to shift. That sense of stagnation, of being disconnected from your own body, starts to lift. Now, the real magic begins when you apply it to a very specific spot, one most men have never thought to target. It's not just about rubbing it anywhere. Where you apply it matters just as much as what you're using. And in the next chapter, I'll show you exactly where that spot is and why it changes everything. Here's the part most men never hear. Where you apply castor oil makes all the difference. It's not your lower back, not your thighs, and no, not directly on the penis. The real secret is a small, often overlooked spot called the perineum. It's the soft area between the scrotum and the anus. Why is this spot so powerful? Because it sits right over the pelvic floor muscles and lies close to a dense network of blood vessels and nerves that directly support erectile function. Think of it like a control center for circulation to the entire region. When you gently massage castor oil into this area, you're not just working the skin, you're influencing deeper tissue. The oil penetrates down into the fascia and stimulates lymph flow, loosens tight muscles, and encourages blood vessels to expand. This improves blood flow to the penis, not just during arousal, but even at rest, which over time can help restore baseline vascular tone. For men over 50, where blood flow is already slowed and vessels are less elastic, this kind of local support is exactly what the body needs. But there's more. The perineum also connects to the pudendal nerve, a major player in sexual arousal and sensation. Poor nerve signaling is one of the silent culprits behind weaker erections, and improving circulation to this area can help the nerve function more efficiently. I've had patients tell me that after just a couple weeks of using castor oil on this spot, they felt more awake down there, like the signal was stronger or the response time was quicker. That's not magic. That's your biology finally getting what it needs to perform. Now here's a practical tip. Apply a small amount of cold-pressed castor oil to a clean cloth or cotton pad. Lie back in a relaxed position and gently press it into the perineum for 10 to 20 minutes. Do this in the evening, ideally after a warm shower, when your tissues are already loosened up. And please, don't rush it. This is not about friction or force. It's about gentle, sustained support. One mistake I see men make is applying too close to the surface or using too much pressure. This can actually irritate the area and lead to tension, not relaxation. Remember, we're working with the nervous system and circulatory system here. Gentle is powerful. So now that you know where to apply it and why it works, let's take it a step further. Because when you combine this with the right routine, timing, relaxation, and sleep, you amplify the benefits. That's exactly what we'll explore in the next chapter. If you're a man over 50, you've probably noticed that your nighttime routine has a bigger impact on your body than it used to. A heavy meal, late TV, stress before bed, it all shows up the next day in your energy, mood, and yes, even in your erections. That's not in your head. As we age, the nervous system becomes more sensitive and sleep becomes a major regulator of testosterone, blood flow, and healing. That's why using castor oil as part of your nighttime routine doesn't just help the body physically, it signals safety and relaxation, which your body absolutely needs to perform. So let me walk you through a simple castor oil routine that fits right into your evening. After a warm shower, when your muscles are relaxed and your pores are open, lie down somewhere quiet. Place a small cloth or cotton pad soaked in castor oil directly on the perineum, the area we discussed in the last chapter. Cover it with a dry towel and relax for 15 to 20 minutes. Use this time to breathe deeply, listen to calming music, or just unwind. The key here isn't the oil alone, it's what the oil does in a relaxed body. That's where the nervous system starts to shift from fight or flight into rest and repair. This is where healing and hormonal balance live. You don't need to do this every night to see results. 3 to 5 times a week is a great rhythm for most men, especially if you're new to this. What men often notice first isn't necessarily a stronger erection, but a feeling of warmth, improved sleep, and even waking up with more energy. And guess what? All of those are early signs that your circulation and hormonal signaling are coming back online. The body is responding. Now here's something most men don't expect. Better erections are often just the beginning. When the pelvic floor relaxes and blood flow improves, men start reporting fewer bathroom trips at night, less tension in the lower back and hips, and a general sense of vitality that starts to carry through the day. This is what I call a compounding benefit. You're not treating a symptom, you're restoring a system. The most powerful healing routines are the ones that feel calming, natural, and sustainable. Castor oil, used in this way, checks all 3 boxes, but we're not done yet, because the real transformation happens when you begin noticing how this affects your confidence, energy, and intimacy, not just your physical function. And that's where we're headed next. When most men start looking for help with erections, what they're really searching for isn't just physical performance, it's a return to confidence, energy, and connection. I've seen it time and again in my patients over 50. They come in feeling disconnected from their bodies, unsure if things can ever improve. And once we start addressing circulation, inflammation, and nervous system balance, especially with something as simple as castor oil, they begin to notice changes that go far beyond the bedroom. Improved blood flow isn't just about firmness. It affects your whole sense of presence and vitality. When your pelvic area feels alive again, warm, responsive, less tense, it changes how you carry yourself. You feel more grounded, more in control. That quiet confidence shows up in how you speak, how you move, and how you relate to your partner. For many men, this leads to a kind of emotional reawakening. They're not just regaining function, they're reconnecting with themselves and the people they love. And energy, that's another hidden benefit. When circulation improves and inflammation decreases, your body doesn't have to fight as hard just to maintain basic function. You free up energy for movement, focus, and even creativity. Small aches begin to fade. You wake up feeling more rested. These are the signs of a system that's healing from the inside out, not relying on a pill to override symptoms, but truly restoring balance. What makes this truly powerful is how it builds over time. The castor oil routine you've learned isn't a try it once and see kind of thing. It's a quiet, consistent practice. The men who see the biggest transformation are the ones who commit, not perfectly, but regularly. A few minutes, a few nights a week. Over a month, then 3 months, then longer. That's how momentum builds. Not just in your blood vessels, but in your mindset. I want you to think of this routine not as a treatment, but as a message to your body. I'm here. I'm paying attention. I want to feel alive again. That's what your nervous system needs to hear. That's what your body responds to. Because in the end, this isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming vitality on your terms, in your season of life. And once you start feeling that again, the need for quick fixes begins to fade. Up next, I'll show you how to take all of this and turn it into a lasting lifestyle shift, one that reminds you your best years aren't behind you, they're waking up right now. Your body isn't broken, it's simply responding to years of stress, poor sleep, and the silent buildup of habits that were never meant to support long-term health. But here's the good news, the body can respond just as powerfully to care. Gentle, consistent practices like the one you learned today, combined with better sleep, circulation, and hormonal support, can create real change. Confidence, intimacy, and energy aren't lost forever. They're waiting to be restored. I encourage you to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. You never know who might read your story and feel less alone. If this helped you, give it a like, subscribe, and be part of this growing community of men over 50 taking their health into their own hands, naturally. Remember, stronger erections aren't about chasing youth, they're about honoring your biology. Your best years aren't behind you, they're built by what you choose to do next.